Hello, citizens of the planet. Welcome back to Monday Musings with Larry Lelli. And this week, I am so happy to report that I'm back in New York City. I loved my time in Boston, and it's a great town, and I had some great food, and met some great people, and the musicians there were wonderful in the orchestra, and the Wang Theater was wonderful to play in. But I'm very excited to be back here in New York City and to play Madison Square Garden. But the thing I wanted to share with you this week is something you may not think about very often or at all, is that musicians, when we're traveling, sometimes it's very difficult to get from the end of one performance in one city to the next city and ready for that performance. And let me explain what that sometimes entails. This particular time we played a show in Boston Sunday night. I was done with my part of the loadout of the theater at about 11 p.m. And I went back to the hotel to get a few hours of sleep, to get up at the crack of dawn, to get on a bus back to New York City with the rest of the cast, because they all have the day off. But us in the orchestra who were traveling to Boston and back to New York, there were four of us. We had to go basically straight from Boston into rehearsal here in New York with the New York Orchestra so that we could be ready to open the show this week. And of course, it was an ice storm. And we're driving on a bus, and there was a flat tire involved. There was the bus overheating was involved, and then there was the bus driver, who I'm pretty sure had never driven a bus before. Or maybe he stole this bus, or was on the run from the law or something, because he was driving this bus like a crazy person. And so all of us on the bus were white knuckling it on, holding the seats for dear life in this ice storm, with the bus sliding all around, and just being very nervous. It was not a very comfortable trip. And what should have been like a 3.5-hour ride turned out to be a 6-hour ride. So what that meant is that the bus had to go directly to Madison Square Garden and drop us four musicians off right there, as our rehearsal was to be starting, and the rest of the orchestra was sitting there waiting for us, ready to go when we got there. And of course, when I got there, none of my equipment was set up. I mean, all my equipment was there. Luckily, the truck with the equipment on it made it there to New York overnight. I should have actually just crawled inside my bass drum and rode with my drum set to New York, because they all got there in time and in one piece. Anyway, we had to run right in there without a break to set up for like 30 minutes. It took 30 minutes to set up all the drums and percussion and the keyboards. And then we immediately started playing. And so we were hungry and fatigued and didn't have any sleep, and went straight into rehearsing for the next 3 hours. So that's the glamour of showbiz sometimes. It was a very grueling day. Luckily we survived. Luckily we didn't crash, which we were all very afraid of. And then we were very exhausted, and so we didn't get a day off. Us four musicians performed for 13 days straight without a day off. And it's, being a musician is a very physically demanding job, those of you who aren't musicians. So just a little glimpse into the glamour of showbiz for you all. Okay, but anyway, glad to be back in New York, glad to be here safely, and glad to be doing shows at Madison Square Garden. Okay, come and see the show, A Christmas Story, 2013. Peace out.